Governor, happy holidays.
You too. Merry Christmas, and make sure you're safe during the holidays.
Thank you. You too.
Want you to party and have a nice time, but be safe.
Do it safe and responsibly, no doubt. It's a great time for family, and that's what we cherish the most, especially when we come around to this time of the year and get ready for the new year.
Yeah.
But this year, 2023, wow, so tremendous, and yet another tragic disaster that we all had to face together. So shall we get right into it?
Sure. So, you know, this year, 2023, marks my first year beginning my last term. And so the last 3.5 years, I think, has been really marred with pandemic, and all attention was done to the pandemic. And so this year, we are poised and ready to do the initiatives that we had wanted. And of course, in January, I think January 26th, we lifted the public health emergency from the pandemic. I think this is a very significant event, and it started us off with the right foot. You know, our economy was strong, our finances were stable, people are feeling safer. You know, we had a 95% vaccination rate, so even though there's still COVID and they get sick, they're not as sick that would require hospitalization. So we started off, I think, the year in a very great positive way. And then, of course, Typhoon Mawar came, and 4 months later, Typhoon Mawar came, and of course, then, you know, we were in a disaster mode again, and it was very, I think, set us back in terms of trying to recover to some normalcy with tourism, with jobs, with opening businesses and so forth, right? But I just have to say that this Typhoon Mawar recovery period was a lot quicker for us. And part of that is because there was a lot of pre-planning, a lot of early preparation for our people to be safe. And of course, our buildings and the structures that we have are very much up to code with typhoon strength winds. And so as a result of that, we were able to recover more. Not a lot of devastation with homes and stuff. There were some, enough to really be very concerned about. But for the most part, like right after the typhoon, I made a cursory view of our island, and I felt, wow, you know, we were able to travel the main thoroughfares. And so debris and all of that started to be picked up. And so our people, I think, and I want to thank our people for coming together and getting ourselves recovered in such a very quick, I think, way. We had like 92% of energizing throughout the island, I think in 3 weeks. And that, I think, is a phenomenal feat for GPA.
It was a good reminder, too, about preparedness and the importance behind being prepared for anything that could occur, like the disaster we experienced with Mawar. So, yeah, great that we
I don't know what else is going to come, Nick, but I think our administration, you know, is resilient, and our people are resilient. And we have gone through 2 major tragedies, the pandemic and, of course, now natural disaster. I think we'll be fine in the next few years, knock on wood.
Fingers crossed. Praying with you. And I just want to also move on to, everyone's buzzing also about the new medical complex that was also sprinkled in with all the recovery efforts that we experienced in the storm. What groundbreaking developments can you highlight, Governor, and how will it revolutionize healthcare accessibility for the people?
Sure. You know, when I first became governor, we did a thorough, comprehensive assessment with commissioning the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they did say to us that, and warned us that we would have to renovate And if we renovate it, it will cost $763 million. If we built a new hospital, it would cost $743 million. So of course our decision was to go forward with the direction of building a hospital. In that whole interim, we were able to look for a lot of space. And as a result of that, we started talking about the concept of medical complex. So a medical complex really is a center where the hospital will be located. Veterans Administration will be co-located, Veterans Affairs, Veterans Clinic, Public Health, and then of course Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. So that would make up the complex. And this is not a foreign idea. This is now what the practice and the business model is for most of the healthcare delivery system in the mainland and throughout the world, I believe. Yeah. So groundbreaking, you know, it would be groundbreaking if the senators passed Bill 184 to allow me to purchase 102 acres of Crown lands. These are lands that are not owned by any private owners or private landowners. These are government land that was given over by the Spaniards, that's why it's called Crown lands, over to the U.S. government, and then the U.S. government gave it to Guam. And we've done our research all the way back to 1898, and there's no indication or record of private ownership of that land. So the issue about returning land to the landowners, I think that was the big controversy with the Eagles Field. We've addressed that. So I'm hoping that the senators will find it in their public responsibility to support the community in getting accessible hospital care. And that would be groundbreaking for me. The other issue, of course, is financing. And I've been through DC, talked to some congressmen, talked to our congressional delegate, talked to Pentagon, White House, leaders in the Pentagon. And they're very supportive of the medical complex, and we are going to be working very intensely with them to see how they can help us with financing. And so they've agreed with our approach of one Guam, that whatever affects the military also affects the civilian, and whatever affects the civilian affects the military. So we need to have an approach of one Guam in terms of services, in terms of delivery of health care, and so forth. So for me, having that step into DOD with some serious discussions is a great leap going forward in terms of financing.
I want to now touch on the port, our island's ports, and any enhancements.
Seaport, airport?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Any enhancements implemented this year, if you can just kind of touch on that, and any game-changing technologies and collaboration you think might have fortified our position here.
Yes. So as you know, Nick, commerce is a big plus for us, right? We cannot survive as a community, cannot strengthen our economy if we don't continue on with commerce. And our seaport and our airport is very key to that successful commerce and trade. You've seen this in areas where during the pandemic and even with the military buildup, bringing in goods and services and so forth. So I'm very excited for what's happening at the seaport under the leadership of course, former Senator Rory Respicio. He's gotten the finances of the seaport really in a good position. We were there also getting support to purchase 3 gantry cranes. Our gantry cranes are at its last leg, and it's very clear and very indicative that if one of those gantry cranes come down, there would be years of delay, not just for military buildup, but it would certainly impact the efficiency and the quickness of us putting food on the table through commerce and through trade and so forth, right? So it's very key, and they were very supportive of that. Of course, he also has submitted a grant with Merit, which is the Maritime Administration, and that looks very hopeful. Once we get that, we can improve with the gantry, and of course, he's been modernizing the seaport. We're working very closely with some vendors that would digitalize the cargo that's coming through U.S. Customs, Customs and Quarantine, just like CNMI is doing, and other parts of our region here, Palau is doing that. So we're working with the same vendors. I think they're called Harmony. I'm not too sure about that, but I think that's what it's called. And it's a platform where they can track goods and services, so it's quicker to monitor them, it's quicker to inspect them, it's quicker to collect the fees from them, and so forth. So it'll make it a lot more efficient. How well we are strong in the port is very evident when we suffered the disaster of Typhoon Mawar. 3 days after that, the port was declared by the Coast Guard that it is safe and ready to operate again. Yeah. Of course, the airport, you've seen the advances in the airport. You know, we are working very hard to see if we can get more airlines coming to the airport, but they are also modernizing and digitalizing. Now, when you go through customs, you don't have to fill out the paper form. You can do it electronically, even before you even board or even before you check in. So that has improved tremendously in terms of processing people that come through the airport. It's very important when people land on our island and see that the airport is very efficient, right? Because it tells you something about what the community is about. Yeah. And so the airport is on its course. I know that they want to expand there also, to expand the roadway, the roads coming into the airport so that it's not as congested. And I know they're working very closely with DPW and also the FAA on that one. We are also seen by the military, national security and defense, that we are the alternate airport, right? In terms of defense and in times of emergencies. And they're working very closely with the military. They also have a good fire response,
yeah, they really do.
Federal fire. I'm not federal, but the airport response team.
They're our team.
Yeah.
Great guys there. I want to look back now, Gov, with you on education.
Sure.
What innovative strides do you recall were made in 2023 to ensure the students are ready for the future?
Well, you know, education, you all know that is not really under my authority. It's almost considered like the fourth branch of government, right? It has its own elected board. I appoint some of them, but it really has its own budget. We don't even look at the budget. One of the things that we do is communicate very closely with the superintendent, and we communicate very closely with the chair and the board members, and we have offered a lot of support, administrative support, and even pushing forward. I would like to see the procurement process being a lot more quicker.
We all would.
Yeah, we all are, and you know, our procurement, our GSA has been improving in the last few months. We are also looking at digitalizing the procurement process. Our Department of Administration is going to have its FMIS replaced to more friendly accessibility and more friendly users of the finances. And all of that will also include the way we do HR, the way we do payroll, and procurement is going to be key also there. But as far as education, Nick, we are working very closely to move forward to make sure that the schools are safe for our kids, that they are in a good, conducive learning environment. One of the things that I am excited that we've also done with education is, of course, moving quickly to break ground for Simon Sanchez High School.
Yes.
And so we worked very closely with Senator Roy Kinata, who oversees the Simon Sanchez. We passed legislation that would help us with a quicker process and a quicker way of getting the financing and so forth, right? So we're at the point now that we are probably going to issue the RFP either next week or first week in January. Once we do that and we get a construction manager, then we can move forward with the financing. And there are several innovative ways of the financing, so we're very confident that we will be able to get the financing to build a school. You know, my goal is, of course, to get it done within 2 years.
Okay, we'll be watching.
Yes. I'm pretty sure you will be.
Okay. Let's move over now to public safety. Always a priority for the community. They want to feel safer. What fresh approaches or technologies would you say have been integrated this year for public safety initiatives, and any success stories or breakthroughs you would say that have made Guam safer for its residents?
You know, one of the biggest challenge in public safety, Nick, is retention of our police officers. You know, Chief Ignacio is very diligent and very persistent in recruiting, but we're also, as much as we recruit, attrition is pretty high. So we're looking at ways that we can keep that attrition down. Of course, you are aware that we raised the salaries of the police officers, and we're working very closely with Chief Ignacio to see what other ways that we can incentivize our police officers to stay and you know, continue on with the career path. So it's a main thing of looking at what career paths are available. How can we incentivize this? How can we make recruitment, and how can we encourage our young men and women to make public safety their career? Right. As far as electronics, you know, I know that there's been legislation that has been passed for example, the body camera. Yeah, and the chief is very supportive of that, and I think the police officers are also. I'm not sure, I think we need to find the funding for that, because I don't think they put funding in that piece of legislation, so that's another challenge in order for us to get the body cam. But that's one way to create more environment for safety, right? Not just for the police officers, but also for the people that are you know, that they are pursuing and so forth. So that's a big thing, I think, that's happened. Just working through a lot of recruitment challenges and retention challenges.
That's government-wide, I feel like.
Yes, and you know, we've just recently also funded bullet vests, which is very important to our safety of our police officers. And that, I think, is coming. We're looking at more police vehicles, always that, because of the wear and tear. And I think the chief is looking down at seeing how we can more digitalize the way of recording and reporting enhance more the recording and the reporting of incidents and arrests, to make it so that we can have one central data repository so we can follow you know, the course of our crime statistics, what we need to do, the analytics that we need to move forward. Yeah.
Something we all can learn from, right? So that we can use that data to try and prevent more incidents like this from occurring as well, right?
Or also for decision makers to say, hey, this is where we should put our resources, right? Our investment, our monies. Because if we do this, it'll impact significantly to the safety of our people.
Okay. Let's move over now to connecting with the people. This year, 2023, there was a lot of opportunity for that when our telecommunications had gone down following malware. How would you say the government actively connected with the community? And could you think of any unconventional, I guess, methods or grassroots campaigns that may have sparked meaningful engagement between the government and the people?
Okay, so of course connectivity, everything, right, Nick, from services to delivery of services to our public involves money. So we just recently got a grant from the BEAD program under the Department of Commerce of $156 million. And so we've developed our action plans, and one of them is to provide the resources in those underserved areas. And we're saying we are underserved throughout Guam with broadband and connectivity and instruments, ability to pay your plans and so forth. So in this BEAD program, that's one of our strategies, is increasing broadband, decreasing latency is a big thing. My understanding is, like, if you wanted to get data or even have information, right, we have to go all the way back to the source of the original data, and then it comes back to Guam, and that creates increased latency. So if we were going to get a data warehouse or a data center where we can put in these servers or instruments where then the original data is housed there, and then they can just distribute it out to the island. That's one way. That's my very, very rudimentary understanding of how that works, but that's the concept behind it. And of course, we are also trying to get people to invest into our telecommunications. And so we're talking to some high level entities to try and entice them to come and invest in our island. The other issue also that happened with the malware, right, is that their infrastructure, all of them, all of the IT&E, Docomo, GTA's infrastructures were badly damaged, and that was why it's a real big issue or a challenge and a struggle to get back to where we are normal in terms of the services, right?
You had to go out there and physically speak with the people at times, right, to let them know what was happening. We did the same on our end. What was that like, or what was something that you think
I'll tell you, you know, we are very concerned about cybersecurity, right? So during the typhoon, I felt what it would be like if cybersecurity happened, breach of cybersecurity happened here, and if all of our forms of communication was down, because they were. I remember during typhoon, you would listen to the radio, right? And the radio would give you some sense of comfort. Hey, you know, we're right in the middle of the eye now. You know, it's going to be calm for an hour or two, but don't think that that is safe for you to come out. You know, stay in your houses, all that, right? That was the direct communication through radio. We didn't have that during the typhoon. We didn't. I mean, I don't remember the last station, but it went off.
We were hit hard.
We were hit hard. And so we need to see how we can strengthen that, right, and make that stronger and provide some kind of resources to make that stronger. I'm pretty sure your KUAM experienced it. And I felt so left out. I felt so, I want to say naked, right? Because I could not communicate with my fire people or my police people or, you know, the first responders. How are they doing out there? You know, that is a very, very scary situation to be in, as not just a governor, but as all of the directors of the law enforcement agencies, because they could not communicate. I mean, I was trying to communicate. I got to a point where the Admiral gave me a communications, just walkie-talkie kind of thing, just to communicate with him. You know, hey, how are you people? Hey, Governor, how are your civilians? Is there anything we can do? Is there anything we can help you with? You know, that kind of stuff, right?
Something.
Or something, yeah. I was, anyway, communication is one of the lifelines of the quality of life of our people. If we don't have communications, we cannot connect. Right? If we don't have the connectivity, we don't know, hey, Nick, how are you doing at your house?
Yeah.
Right? It was very, very scary, very dark, very void kind of situation. And we're going to work very closely with the carriers to make it much stronger.
Yeah. A lot of lessons learned, and only now room to grow from. I wish we had more time to talk some more. There's so much that happened in the past 12 months, but I want to thank you, of course, Governor, for your time. To wrap it all up, you want to give us a sneak peek of what you're most excited about coming into 2024?
So what I'm most excited about in coming into 2024 is, of course, the strength of our economy.
Yes.
And the stabilizing of our financing. And as we go forward in these holidays, people are happy. You know, Nick, we just had the Parade of Lights last night, and there were kids all over. I mean, I have not seen Guam that happy. And we deserve it. We so much deserve it, given the many tragedies that we've gone through and the struggles that we've gone through. And so I'm excited to continue on that in the next year. I'm also excited, of course, in having a groundbreaking for our hospital. My goal is to see if we can do it by the end of this year, and we are going to work very hard to make that happen. Not just the facility itself, but to also provide the human resources and the specialties that we need to house in our hospital in order that we can provide the quality of care that we so much deserve. That, and also education with Simon Sanchez building. You know, the other one that I'm excited about is the Fishermen's Co-op. That one I think is going to have a groundbreaking this year, and the fishermen are pretty happy about it. As you see, right, in the Paseo, there's not that building anymore, so they're staging themselves to build the building. So many good things happening this year in all the areas of improving the efficiency of our government and improving the availability and the accessibility to our people. The other one that I just want to point out is that for the first time, our government of Guam has now implemented self-insurance in healthcare premiums, which is looking good, it's going good, and it has allowed our people not to have that much of a financial burden on premiums. Okay. Yeah, many good things.
And more to come. A lot of things to celebrate in 2024. Governor, thank you so much for your time, and Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Merry Christmas.